Good afternoon. I'm coming to you today from the nurse's office at Swain County High School. I had planned on visiting with you from West Elementary because I want to get as many of our faces of children on these videos as I possibly can. But I was presented with a warning this week from the CDC out of Atlanta. The CDC is a government agency that we think about whenever we have communicable diseases or infectious outbreaks like E. coli or perhaps the measles or things like that. However, there are other issues that the CDC helps us understand. By the way, the CDC stands for the Centers for Disease Control. And this particular advisory came to us about the pulmonary diseases that have been associated with the use of e-cigarette products. Now, what are e-cigarette products? They come in all kinds of shapes and forms, but basically it's an electronic smoking device. Most of you have probably already seen these. I just went down the hall and asked some of our assistant principals here at the high school just to share with me some of what they have confiscated this year. That's one of the more traditional ones. This is one that most people want because it looks a little bit like a memory stick. It's called a Juul. This is one that was confiscated just recently, and it's striking to me how closely that resembles just like a Bic lighter. I mean, this is the one that really gets my attention because it looks like an ink pen. These e-cigarettes are coming in all kinds of shapes and forms. As a matter of fact, I did a search on the internet and found that there's jewelry, bracelets, and there's even a place that provides drawstrings like you would wear in your hoodie or something like that, and it has an e-cigarette at the end of it. So someone could be sitting there and they could participate in this activity and then just lay it back down and it just looks like a sweatshirt. The reason I'm coming to you is because I have a really large concern about this. What we're finding out is that across the United States, over 200 students have come down with serious pulmonary diseases, and they are very likely linked to the use of e-cigarettes. It used to be that we would see cigarettes like this, and even when I was in high school, some of the seniors were allowed to smoke on campus, and of course we still deal with smokeless tobacco some. But those items are actually declining in use across the nation, and e-cigarettes are being used at ever-increasing rates every single day. There are a lot of people who say that e-cigarettes don't have any harmful health effects, and while there may not be a strong body of research that supports that there are negative health effects, and by the way, one of the reasons there are not is because they're moderately new and a lot of studies haven't been completed yet. There is an element in e-cigarettes that we all need to be aware of that is dangerous, aside from the fact that some of them have heavy metals and chemicals in them that are harmful to the body. A lot of our e-cigarettes contain nicotine. You see, what happens is someone who uses an e-cigarette will go buy something to place in it. They call it juice. And they don't pay attention to the fact that there's a warning on the back that says it contains nicotine. Nicotine, just like in a regular cigarette or perhaps in smokeless tobacco. Why is that such a big deal? Because there is a strong body of research that says that nicotine and the adolescent brain don't go together very well. As a matter of fact, nicotine causes memory loss. It affects attention. It affects learning. And there is an element of the brain which will heal itself. It's called brain plasticity. And nicotine keeps the brain from healing itself. That worries me because we're not going to really know the total effect of e-cigarettes for years and years to come. So the reason that I'm bringing this to you is I'm asking for the parents, guardians, custodians, community members to be on the lookout for especially teenagers that are using e-cigarettes. Number one, it's against the law. That doesn't mean that people aren't going to do it, because I go down the highway and people speed all the time. But number two, having them on school campus is against board policy, and that's true not only for students but also for staff. We want our campuses to be smoke-free, and that includes e-cigarettes. But the more important piece of it is it's dangerous. We just don't know how dangerous it is. It's especially dangerous for young brains. So would you help me, please? Help me monitor, watch for our youth. And if we see that they're using a Juul or something else, then let's caution them. Parents, I'm not saying that your son or daughter is a bad person if they're doing this, and I'm not saying that you are either. If you are using e-cigarettes, perhaps because you think it'll help you quit smoking. What I am saying is that we are exposing our youth to unneeded risk, and I wish that you would help me monitor that and put it to an end. The CDC sent out a report recently, and they asked students, high school students all over the country, how many of you as a high school student have either tried an e-cigarette or are currently using one? And 50% of the students have either tried or are currently using e-cigarettes. That's significantly higher than the number of students that are smoking tobacco products. It's a growing problem, and I'm concerned. So I ask for you to help. There is some information that we've placed on our webpage, and at the bottom of that information is a link, and it brings up a 4-page flyer that will help you as parents or guardians have a conversation with your sons or daughters or nieces or nephews or grandparents. Have a conversation with your grandchildren. How do you have a conversation about whether or not they're smoking or using an e-cigarette? This document will help guide that and give you some ideas. I've also asked Mr. Holt if he will help me get a link to you from a PBS presentation from their news hour that shows exactly how pervasive this issue is and the dangers that are involved. So again, I'm asking you to help. It's not that I think we have bad people that are doing this. That's not my point. My point is we're putting our youth at unneeded risk. So help me minimize that if you would. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. I'm sitting in the nurse's office. Perhaps you could email them or give them a call, because we're all going to come from the same place. E-cigarettes are a growing concern. Help us minimize that. Thank you for taking this time and listening to me. I hope you have a blessed day now. Thank you for being part of Swain County Schools. God bless you.